everyone. Welcome back to Academia Unplugged, a platform where real scholars get to tell their real stories, and really a platform where we get to get into academia and have unfiltered and unhinged conversations about what happens in academia, the ins and outs of academia, and really how we get around the concept of what academia is in very different aspects. If you are a returning subscriber, hi Unplugger. Hey. Welcome back, and thank you for sharing, for liking, for commenting, and for sticking through with me through and through. And if this is your first time tuning into Academia Unplugged, hi, welcome. We are very warm, and I hope that you already feel warm. And please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. So as you may know, if you don't know, I recently finished my PhD, and if you may know, yes, I recently finished my PhD, and I thought it would be fitting to give like my insights into the things that I wish I knew before I started my PhD. I do feel qualified to talk about this now. So if you have a different opinion to what I am saying, then please comment down below and let me know your thoughts. And if you also feel like you want to share and add your story as a PhD or even a master's or an honors student, comment down below and share your experiences, and let's have a conversation around the things that you wish you knew before you started your academic journey. So, yeah, let's dive right in. So I'm going to give you 5 things that I know now that I wish I knew during my PhD. And hopefully, these things sort of help you navigate your PhD in the most efficient way. And I must say, as a disclaimer, that every PhD is unique and every experience is unique. So the ones that I'm going to say now are my experience and things that I've come to realize that they may have helped me during my PhD. Some of these things I still struggle with until today, but it's a constant struggle of having to remind myself each and every time something happens, or each and every time I doubt myself, or each and every time something similar to what has happened during my PhD happens now, and then I have to go back and be like, oh yeah, you already know this, you've been through this. So it applies in many instances. And again, this is not necessarily to say you only go through these things only when you're doing a PhD. No, masters, honors, any other, or even professors, actually, any other sphere of academia, you could go through these things, and I hope that they help. So the first thing on the list is ask for help early. I cannot stress this enough. During your PhD, and especially when you're starting your PhD, you feel like you know everything, or you have the pressure of having to know everything. I cannot stress this enough. It's okay not to know. It's okay not to be hyper independent or super independent to a point where you cannot really ask for help. So I think that firstly, ask for help. Ask the people that have done their PhDs before for help. Ask your supervisor for help, your colleagues for help, your family for help, any kind of help that you need during this time, more especially when you are just starting. And I saw this in my own journey where it was difficult for me to ask for help, especially with concepts or softwares or tools that I didn't know how to use, or tools that I could not get through to and at some point or in some instances. And the type of PhD that I did was a doctorate, so we also had to attend classes for credit points. And sometimes they allow you the freedom to choose the classes that you want to attend for your own personal and academic development. So I chose, of course, the courses that I didn't know about, be it coding or other things that needed me to improve my workflow or improve my PhD. And of course, you were there with like younger students or master students or bachelor students that know a little bit more than you in that subject area, and I wouldn't ask for help. And in turn, this made me have this imposter syndrome that I didn't know came from where. um, and episodes of me having to doubt myself during this PhD, and I found it really hard to reach out and ask for help. I felt like it was some sort of a weakness. But the first thing is speak out, voice your concerns either to your supervisor or to your group leader or to anyone who you think you can get help from. That's really important. I would say ask for help. Don't be shy. It's okay not to know everything. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay. You don't know everything. You are also in a learning process. And I think it's important to tell yourself that, and to also not just tell yourself, but to understand that you are also developing yourself and you are also learning in the process. The second thing that I would say is to read widely. I cannot absolutely stress this enough. Read, 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 not just journals, but read books. Not novels, of course, but like read within your sphere or within your context of specialty. Read your articles, read your journal articles, understand what is the status quo, understand what is out there, understand what people are doing and how people are developing or people are being innovative in their ideas. Because you'll think that, oh, you have such a brilliant idea and you have finally located and found that research gap, only for you to realize that that same research gap has been filled a couple of years ago by someone who is doing a study which is similar to yours and stuff. So reading not just only gives you the appreciation for other authors and other people that are in academia or in your field of study, but it also equips you with the knowledge to argue your perspective, to argue your point, and to also create room for your gap. So to substantiate your knowledge gap using literature. So I would say read, read, read. Make sure you know what's happening right now. Make sure you know the different contexts from different parts of the world within your subject area. That is very important. And know exactly why you are conducting your study. This, you can only know it by reading, because sometimes we can be short-sighted and we can think, oh yeah, I know how to do remote sensing, for example, and I know how to do these methods. But if you don't read wide enough and well enough, you might find that your methods are either outdated or it's quite literally impossible to do what you want to do. Could be possible, but it might take a little bit more extra input from your side, and also from a point of not reading. So I would say read, read, read. I know it takes a lot to read. And nowadays, there's actually some AI tools that can help you read. Maybe we'll get into this at a later stage, but try and come up with a good literature review. And sometimes it can actually take up to 2 years to come up with a literature review, or writing your literature review, or reading and trying to understand rather what is actually happening with your focus area. So don't be discouraged. Don't feel overwhelmed by the reading. I think it's part of the process. Just make sure you are well equipped in this area. The third thing that I would say, I wish I knew during my PhD that I know now, is to set your boundaries. This is something that I also struggle now. If you speak to my colleagues, they would tell you, Lisa struggles to set boundaries. I struggled to set boundaries early on. And I mean, when I say boundaries, I mean like academic boundaries, even personal boundaries, maybe in your office space or something. But set boundaries, learn how to say no very early on, because before you know it, you say yes to so many things, and this clouds your attention span. So instead of you focusing on your PhD and maybe your work life balance, you take up on so many other responsibilities that overwhelm you, and in turn overwhelm your PhD journey. So I would say protect your time, protect your mental health, and you will probably feel like you need to do everything, you need to know everything, you need to be everywhere all at the same time, because the competition be competitioning. When you look at your peers, when you look at everyone who's in academia outside, people are NRFR rated, people are doing the most, people are publishing like 4 or 5 journals every month, and you're thinking, how are they doing this? And so you feel like you need to cement yourself in many aspects of academia. You need to do this, you need to do that, you need to be hands-on. Set boundaries for yourself. Even as a PhD, especially as a PhD, you don't need to do everything. You don't need to be involved with everything. You don't need to say yes to anything, be it from your supervisor or your friends or the people that look to you for help or something like that. Have a healthy relationship where you are able to know your limits and your boundaries in what you have to do. Yes. So don't forget, set clear, very clear boundaries for yourself and for the people that have expectations off of you. And the fourth thing I would say I wish I knew is get comfortable with learning new things, new theories, new information, new everything new. Get comfortable with learning new tools. Be privy to this information, be open to learning new things. And I know that sometimes in academia we have a way of doing things. There's already a template of how you can learn a certain software or a certain skill. Be open to learning, and most cases it's very intimidating. For example, I had to learn
for coding lie that data into YOLO, for example, for Buddhist species identification.
And of course, I cannot just wake up one day and have the knowledge downloaded onto my brain. No, I had to learn. I had to be comfortable learning not only application software, but software where you could manipulate the outcome of a result from the beginning. So like your coding, I needed to learn how to deal with models and modeling systems that required me to really have extensive knowledge. And that was very hard. That was such a difficult time during my PhD. And I couldn't reach out for help because I was afraid that people are going to say, oh my God, you're doing your PhD and you don't know how to code. Side eye. I was also side eyeing myself at some point, but I also needed to be kind to myself to say, hey, I need to be comfortable to learn this. I need to know how to adjust and learn this new software. And it wasn't only for the benefit of my study, but also for the benefit of my personal development. So I knew that after acquiring that new skill, I would be able to teach other people as well how they can apply this new skill in their different environments. And also, I could have the skill for myself, be it that I stay in academia or I don't. But I knew that I have this skill. I know what to do now. And my learning process is like, extensive now. I have the knowledge. And one way of getting knowledge is to learn. So be open to learning new information, new tools. And if your hypothesis was wrong based on a software or tool, be open to change that, be teachable, learn. So that I wish I knew then, that I didn't have to, be stuck there. And the fifth and final thing that I can say, and actually, as I'm talking, I'm realizing that there's so many things that I wish I knew back then, that I know now. So maybe I make a part 2. Let me know down in the comments if you would like to know more, or if you would like to learn about my perspective. But the fifth and final thing that I wish I knew during my PhD is to embrace failure. And I know, as someone who's in academia and also a Christian, this is it's a very shocking thing to say. But one thing about academia is that you will fail. One thing about your PhD, you will definitely fail at some point. Either your experiment will fail, either your study process will fail, something will fail. You will get rejected a lot of times. You will get denied opportunities a lot of times. And I know this doesn't only apply to academia, but it also applies to life in general. Embrace it. Know that it is not about who you are as an individual, as a person, but there is definitely someone out there who had a better idea than you, or someone out there who presented their idea in a much better way than you did. And that is not a personal attack to you or those around you, but it is meant to grow, especially if you get rejected or fail and get constructive criticism afterwards. I think take that constructive criticism with a pinch of salt, or take it in a way that builds you and allows you to move on, and actually move on. If you applied for a grant and it got denied, move on. Don't get stuck there, because that will delay your progress during your PhD. So I would say, don't get stuck thinking about, I could have done this different, or I could have done. Of course, reflect on what you could have done different, reflect on what could have changed, or reflect on how you could have come up with a different approach to what you were applying towards. But don't dwell on it too much, because it will definitely drag you down. And when it comes to publishing, rejections will come because publishing institutions or journals are looking for different things, and in different aspects and in different spheres. So if you happened not to fit that criteria at that moment, do not beat yourself about it. Do not, just don't dwell on it too much. Embrace it, take it as a learning curve, and move on. That's the best advice I can give, and I wish I gave myself like 4 years ago. Well, I had so many other things are popping up, but yeah, maybe I make a second video explaining this. So to reiterate again, the 5 things that I wish I knew before and during my PhD journey was, firstly, and maybe in no particular order, embrace your failure. Embrace it. Set clear boundaries for yourself and for those that are around you. Get comfortable with learning new tools, new technology, new aspects of your research. Read widely. Read widely. Take notes, make some notes, but read. And most importantly, and I think all of them are important, but most important, ask for help early enough. Communicate this. Be able to ask for help from people that may know better from you or than you. So yeah, this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's very short and very practical. Things that I wish I knew during my PhD. And of course, I'm going to make a part 2 talking about imposter syndrome, maybe because I thought of it just now. Imposter syndrome, finances, especially when you study in a country that is very expensive to live in. This, I think, is important. All these other things that are popping in my head right now as I speak to you. So yes, don't forget to comment, tell me what you think about these things. Tell me about your story. Let's have a conversation about the things that you wish you knew before you started something, be it a job or your academic journey. And let me know what you would like me to add, or a perspective or context that you would like for me to add into my next video. Until then, cheers.